welcome to Things Podcast, where you get kids' views on world news. Today, we're trying a different format where each of us have one story and we all share it to increase involvement. So I will be starting us off with a story. So a couple of days ago, Donald Trump's brother, Robert Trump, unfortunately passed away. Donald Trump said in a statement, "It is with heavy heart I share that my wonderful brother, Robert, peacefully passed away tonight. He was not just my brother, he was my best friend. He will be gratefully missed, but we will meet again. His memory will live on in my heart forever. Robert, I love you. Rest in peace," Trump said in a statement. Robert was 2 years younger than the president, so Robert was 72, and he was a business executive and a real estate developer. So...
Wait, Trump is 74?
Yes?
Biden is 79.
I thought it was like 40 something.
What?
We're gonna be
There's a reason he has so much fake
Trump
tan.
so much sooner.
Okay, can you stop? Now, the cause of this death was not revealed. Trump told reporters on Friday that his brother was having a hard time with a undisclosed illness. Now, I can imagine. Now, I bet all of us here can imagine what this is.
Corona.
Robert was old. He was 72, and one of the main targets for COVID-19.
Cancer.
Especially the fact that it's spreading like wildfire in the US.
1 in
And-
1,000.
Yeah.
Not to be a
Please stop
conspiracy
interrupting me. Not only is it spreading like wildfire, Donald Trump would also have a reason to want to keep it disclosed because he's voiced many times, like when it started, he said, "Oh, it was just a mild flu and it would go away, like SARS." And he really wouldn't want to prove himself wrong by saying, "Oh yeah, my brother died to what I said was gonna be no more than like a common cold or something like that." So there's a good reason for them to make it undisclosed if it was COVID.
And because
And there's
he said it was a hoax at one point, like way before.
yeah. So
Wait, did he say COVID-19 is a hoax?
Yeah.
Like January.
I'm sure we can all think here.
COVID-19 is
About
fake
what
and millions of people dying.
How about each of us voice our opinion on what we think it is and the likelihood of it? I think, although there's a good chance that it could be COVID, it could have just been something else.
I personally think
There is a chance it could be COVID, but he has a lot of money, so he would be able to get good treatment. But being old, it does make him a target, so that's a pretty good chance. But they might just not want to share the illness.
Maybe some sort of cancer.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Being old makes you vulnerable to a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so
Not just coronavirus.
He might have just died of old age.
Yeah, I mean,
well, no,
72
because
is
it
pretty
said
old.
it was an illness.
the
A heart
no,
attack
guys,
isn't necessarily an illness.
the reason they were the reason they're not telling you is because secretly there was some family beef stuff between him and Trump Trump's an assassination people.
So
That was
there
a
is-
joke. That was a joke statement. That was a joke. Please
Was it
For
disclose
Uh,
that.
legal reasons, that's a
I'm
joke.
doing it, I
For
know it
legal
was.
reason, that's a joke. I'm serious.
Indian mafia.
Copyright. Shut up.
Also, about what you said about potential family business, Robert Trump tried to put like a restraining order against both his and Donald Trump's niece.
Oh damn. I might actually accidentally be correct. That's also a joke.
His niece, Mary Trump, to stop her from publishing a book, Too Much and Never Enough, How My Family Created the World's Most Dangerous Man. And so it would expose like...
So he's made books about going against Trump.
No, he's put a restraining order against him and Trump's niece, who was writing a book called Too Much and Never Enough, How My Family Create the World's Most
So
Dangerous
Trump's
Man.
niece is going against Trump.
Yes, and Robert Trump tried to put a restraining order on her to prevent her from publishing this book that offered a
She's my new
unflattering
favorite
look
person.
of the US president and his family. Luckily, a state Supreme Court judge in Poughkeepsie, New York, later denied a request to stop publication and cancelled the temporary restraining order, which
Ooh.
is good.
Wait, so that book's actually out.
Most likely. Let me just search that up. So, this is good because it means that the book will come out and it is out, so they can't hide the secret anymore. The book's out, so earlier they were just trying to hide this book because it could make them look bad. So, what are all our thoughts on this?
Well, I want to read the book to see how bad it actually is, because I haven't, I haven't heard of it, so, they might have been, fussing over nothing. It might not even be that bad.
And it could have actually been lies because Trump isn't the best person, so he might not have been the best president. I'm not saying that it is, but there is a difference between the truth and slander. Dylan, what are your thoughts?
About the restraining order.
And just the story in general?
I think that, to be honest, with this, the death, if it was COVID, then I think it could only mean positive things, because then the president might want to have, eradicate the disease that killed his brother.
But we're not saying that, we're not saying
Yeah,
that
but
COVID
we're
is
saying
good.
if it is. He's saying if it is, then that could actually mean quite... Because one death in the form of Robert could mean thousands, millions of lives could be saved from COVID if Trump takes more action.
Yeah.
I agree.
So why? Would you like to share something about this?
I think that the Trump family has a lot of flaws, and they have some, they don't really like each other. A lot of them.
Issues.
There are issues. But I don't think he would kill his brother. I don't think that conspiracy is true at all. I just think that it was an illness that wasn't coronavirus, and it was just, people die all the time. It doesn't have to
Do you
be
think, yeah,
something special.
but do you think there is a chance that it could be COVID?
I mean, I think there is, but what would he gain from not telling the public?
Well, like we said earlier,
He could just blame the Democrats for it.
yeah.
I had an idea.
But Trump, one of the things he probably hates is being proven wrong. So if he states that, oh, my brother died from this illness that I said was wrong, he thinks he might be laughed at, humiliated, and he'd be proven wrong. So he might really not want that to happen.
If he's any smarter, he would delay his he would put stronger restrictions, but he would delay them so that people wouldn't put two and two together.
People put two and two together when they're way different. People put COVID and replacing the batteries and the birds together.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Kaden,
they're
would you
not
like to
wrong.
share something about the story?
About Donald Trump's brother's illness that caused his death.
And the restraining order?
I don't really know much about this topic, but
Were you listening?
yes, but about
I
the
better
illness one
podcast
though,
and
there is a
yeah.
half decent chance that it could be COVID, but probably not most likely. Considering
Suicide.
they're pretty rich.
He
was
said
not-
it was an illness.
They wouldn't glitch.
I know,
And he was
but
suffering from it.
he could easily have combined.
The illness of depression.
It's a
Yeah,
mental illness.
yeah.
But I doubt that.
Might even be because of the book. Might be because the book said saying.
Probably not.
Conspiracy.
But still.
He would have just
Sure.
used all the power he could to try and make it seem false. Anyway, moving on to our next story, presented by William.
So, this person in, this Melbourne cop, right? He, was talking to, a COVID-19, it was level 4, and there was this guy who was breaking the restrictions of COVID-19, and the guy opened his door and they were talking and stuff. But then out of the blue, the guy backed up and the cop got hit with the door and went flying. And immediately after, the guy in the COVID-19 rule breaker just like ran, drove off.
So it would be good to show a video of this on the podcast because this is fairly hard to explain.
Okay.
So it was like the door open,
The
and
door
then
was open, yeah.
and then the rule breaker reversed, and the open door hit the cop and sent him flying.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that what we can take from this story is that a lot of people don't want lockdown. They don't want restrictions. They think
Well, no,
it's
a lot
against
of
their
people.
In
freedom.
Australia, by the way.
That's mainly in America. There are a lot of people in New Zealand who think quarantine is good. There were just a lot of people that break the rules and like go to parties because they're too bored or they think their social life might die. So
Yeah.
there are a lot of reasons for people not to stay home. Some of them
Which is true,
can be
but
good, and some
hail
of them can
introverts.
just be like they might want to go see their family member
Yo.
who's not doing too well
introverts are thriving
and doesn't really
in this
know
time.
how to use Skype or any of those.
Yeah.
And some people might need to go on a long walk to a grocery store because they don't own a car and they live fairly far away from one. So there are some good reasons for breaking quarantine, but there are also
Don't break quarantine.
bad ones,
Please
like
don't.
going to a party, meeting up with friends, going to a concert.
Yeah, don't put your interests over the health of others.
Yeah. If you don't need to, don't. That was the point of lockdown. Our next story is from Caden, who will be presenting his story about...
Fortnite banned from Apple and Google app stores and developer Epic sues. This story is from cnet.com for sources. So yeah, Fortnite maker Epic Games has filed suit against after the tech giants removed the game from their digital marketplaces. Fortnite developer Epic Games is suing Apple and Google after both pulled Epic's hit game from their app stores over direct payment disputes. As of right now, neither are allowing users to download and install Fortnite on phones through their digital marketplaces. At the heart of the debate is whether Epic has the right to include a direct payment service in its Fortnite app, circumventing Apple's and Google's payment systems and the up to 30% charge Apple and Google levy on each transaction. Epic's lawsuit alleges that Apple has become a behemoth seeking to control markets, block competition, and stifle innovation. Apple is bigger, more powerful, more entrenched, and more pernicious than monopolies of yesteryear, Epic says in the suit. Apple's size and reach far exceeds that of any technology monopolist in history.
May I just say something?
Yes.
It seems Epic Games is entirely forgetting the existence of Disney.
Yeah.
Also,
That's not.
Apple's way larger than
just
Disney.
because they're a big company doesn't mean you can basically use their website without giving them money.
Yeah.
I mean,
agree.
what they're saying is that the tax is too high, apparently. According
Yeah,
to
because what it was something like 30% of all money was taken, and that can be a lot for small developers and big developers.
I know, but when you think about it, that's those two the online marketplaces are quite possible, like some of the only two big ones and some of the only ones. Actually, probably the only. Do you know any others?
No, but
What others?
Like Google Play, any app install things.
may I read one more?
Amazon.
Can I read one more part? Epic's lawsuit against Google accuses the tech giant of abandoning its idealistic roots and says Android's claim that it's an open ecosystem is a broken promise. In 1998, Google was founded as an exciting young company with a unique motto, "Don't be evil," reads the complaint. 22 years later, Google has relegated its motto to nearly an afterthought and is using its size to do evil upon competitors, innovators, customers, and users in the slew of markets it has grown to monopolize. Google declined to comment on the lawsuit.
Oh my god, that is such a bad argument.
Yeah,
So they're basically saying
it's quite lame.
Google's evil, so let me use Google. You're evil, so let me use your stuff.
That's basically
That's
just saying,
not-
like, you have bad morals, I don't want to give you money anymore.
I've
Yeah.
got a...
For using your thing.
Okay, so what I think that if there was going to be a policy change for these claims, because I think there might need to, like, because 30% seems quite a lot for small developers.
Yeah.
So I think there should be a number system that depends on like how big the company is. Like 30% for the higher companies, and then like near to
That's-
10% for the lower.
Like all of the
Yeah.
big companies gonna be like, well, screek you.
So, what I think is, they should definitely turn it down for small developers because they have less people and they have to pay wages and they do a lot more of the work than Apple and Google do. Just making this simple software that lets you download things. That's probably much easier to make than some large mobile game that people have spent a lot of time making. And also for bigger developers, 30% can be a lot more because if you make $1 billion, you've lost $300 million just because you use someone's platform.
I mean, you've still gotten a lot of money, and also for the small companies, Google and Apple, they don't just make these platforms.
Yeah, but this is
They
what they're
st-
taking money from. They're taking 30% of this revenue.
Think of it this way: they're taking money from small companies, putting it into their latest iPad, and then those small company programmers are then using the latest iPad.
They're not. They
to-
use computers to code. And most
Do
people
they?
don't
Yeah.
use iMacs to code. They build their own custom computers so that they run faster.
Whoa.
And Apple does not need to take 30% from small developers to afford to make a new iPad.
I mean, it's always good to
They-
have more money.
But the truth is, the small developers that spent a lot of time, that have a small group and spent a lot of time making these games, need money more, need the small amount of money more than Apple, who has a large monopoly on the tech industry and doesn't really need to take 30% from like this much, because if it makes like a few thousand, that's enough to pay the wages of the employees at the small company for quite a while, and that's really good for them. But for Apple, a few $1,000s is like pocket change because they have billions. It's all relative.
I know, but like,
If you have $1 million and you get $1, that's not much.
that's gonna
If you have
cause
$0
so much
and you have
conflict.
one,
That's gonna cause so much conflict.
what, saying money is relative?
No, saying that Apple and Google should do a thing where they charge more for bigger companies.
I'm not saying they should necessarily. That's what Dylan said. I'm saying it can be harmful to them as well. So after that debate about the amount of money spent
Heated debate.
on this, Y would like to present his news story.
Yeah, so I would like to talk about the new coronavirus cases in New Zealand and how, out of nowhere, even though we have a quarantine, we suddenly, and we have strict lockdowns across the border, we suddenly have all these new cases. And they stem from this one family in Auckland. And how do you guys think that coronavirus came to New Zealand again?
So one of the ways is from a ship.
It's airborne.
It could have came from people coming in from a plane that might have had.
They think it's from a ship, yeah.
Yeah, it could have been from that.
Yeah.
You asked us a question that they already discovered.
So, it's a high possibility. It could have been because didn't one of the people who might have had COVID or came from overseas break quarantine?
Oh no, it wasn't from that, they said.
But we don't necessarily know because because it was a different strand, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. So it was a new strand of COVID
from Australia.
Wait, why is this new strand? What's the difference between? Don't worry. Sorry, I was going to say something stupid.
Okay. Why?
Anyway, what they think it is from refrigerated food deliveries from Australia. And how from Australia, they shipped food in a refrigerated container, and the virus lasted very long in there.
Okay.
That's pretty much all to the story.
Alright. Well, that was another short story, similar to Williams. Moving on to the final story of today. We have Dylan, the editor, presenting his story about the NZ elections being delayed.
Okay. So, the vote was due to take place on 19th of September, but will now be held on the 17th of October instead. Ms. Ardern said on Monday that the new date would allow parties to plan around the range of circumstances we will be campaigning under. Earlier this week, the country's largest city which is Auckland, went back into lockdown. This decision gives all parties time over the 9 weeks to campaign. The Electoral Commission enough time to ensure an election can go ahead, Mr. Ardern said, adding that she has absolutely no intention of allowing any further delays to the vote. So why they pushed back the vote was because COVID cases were climbing, and it was gonna impact people's vote and their health, so they postponed it a month. Some parties were reluctant at first, but they had to go by the.
Wait.
Yeah.
If Jacinda Ardern can postpone the election, then she can stay in government forever.
She has
Should
to
have the other parties.
Yeah, because
it's
everyone has to agree,
and
they agreed because of COVID. It's not like Miss Ardern or
Jacinda Ardern created COVID.
It's not like Jacinda Ardern could just be, I want to stay in office longer. The election's delayed by March.
Jacinda Ardern.
They have to, all the parties and Parliament have to get together and be like, we should delay the vote because of COVID. And if they all agree, then that's what happens.
Okay, so they agreed on the postpone because apparently it also, adding on to the COVID, but it would also benefit all parties equally in the election because they get to have more time to advertise their vote.
That means your opponents have more time to advertise.
But then they do as well, so that's why it's equal.
Yeah.
And that's why it's not deemed unfair. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the story.
By the way, what are you guys voting for? You can totally vote, right? We're all 18 here.
Yeah, we're
Yeah.
all 18.
Yeah, definitely.
Green Party for life.
Yeah, I think I'm going
Green Party for
yeah,
life.
Green Party.
I'm voting.
I'm voting New Conservatives.
Why?
Am I right? Okay.
Why national?
I'm
No.
voting.
Hayden,
I'm
you should
voting
vote
New
National.
Conservatives. Am I
No.
right?
William, New Zealand first.
You can. And you can.
Hey,
Did
if
you
we
know-
were just think, if we were the only
Top
persons in the election, Green Party would win.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Did you know that there's until like 2011 there was a party in Sweden called the frickin' far left Democrat Communists,
What? Really?
What?
and they changed it in 2011 because nobody was voting for them.
Oh.
Ooh, gee, I wonder why.
Hey, communism is great. I vote for them.
Oh. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's just a long, confusing name. You have Democrats and
it hasn't been
communism in the
recording this
same
whole time.
sentence.
It has been.
Anyway, this has been Things Podcast. Please leave in the comments what you think of this.
Sorry.
These stories.
Anyway, this has been Things Podcast. Please tell us what you think of this layout, sort of the video, where each of us has one story that we present. Or if you just like to see what normally one or two people present all the stories. Make sure to comment down because we think this, or I personally think this is a good idea because it increases involvement. Sometimes William doesn't say much,
Hey,
so
you're welcome.
this is good, I think, because all of us
I'll be here.
have to
But
talk.
Ben, nobody's
Oh.
gonna give us feedback. Nobody's gonna give us feedback. You know
They
why?
do give us feedback.
Because nobody watches our videos. Bye.